Hello everybody, you have tuned in to Eric Jose on Making a Murderer on YouTube. I cover virtually any aspect of making a murderer. I go over the evidence, the documents, the photos. So if you like, stay tuned, and in the future I'll have many more videos besides the one you're about to see. Hello there, everybody. How you doing? I was basically here today. I'm gonna be uploading the chat I had with Jynxie and Andy Newton. Want to go ahead and give another thanks to Ashley Struncy, Falcon Apata, Fen on Twitter, and Julie Pom Pom from the Wrecking Crew. You guys would have seen Julie on Tracy's lives. She was helping Tracy out. She was helping to keep track of the donations and that sort of stuff. So that's who Julie Pom Pom is, for those of you who may not know. She's brilliant. And so is Finn. And so are all the moderators that took part and all the moderators that were involved. They did a great job. These live streams all went fairly smoothly. And it was really, I mean, for us hosts, we were already kind of stressed, but it was nice to have those people behind the scenes who were actually making this thing go smoother and making it a little bit less stressful on us. And so we do appreciate that very much. During MaM-A-Thon, there has been something of an interesting development today, and some of you may have been reading about it on Reddit, concerning the blood in the blood vial from 1985. So that's something that Scooby and I are going to be looking into. We're looking into now. So we may be coming at you tomorrow with a live to talk a little bit about it. We're gonna get more into it, but I can tell you, I just got home from work, so I haven't got to dig too deep into it yet. But I can tell that there's some concerning things, and a lot of people who have been able to spend the day looking into it are finding some very interesting things. So there might be something interesting for tomorrow, and so look forward maybe to that. We'll have to see, obviously, once we're done looking into it, but it looks fairly promising at the moment. So had a chat with Jynxie and Andy Newton. Love Jynxie, folks. She's definitely one of my favorite people that I've met through these cases. And I think Andy Newton's a great guy. I've seen Andy Newton on Twitter and stuff. A lot of smart stuff, a lot of funny stuff. He's got a good sense of humor. So it was actually really, really cool to get to talk to them here. And that was actually another cool thing about the MaM-A-Thon weekend. I mean, I never actually had gotten to talk to a lot of these people before, or spent much time talking to them. And so now I've gotten to have chats with them, and most of them are now over in the Wrecking Crew on Discord, and just posting a lot of very interesting things in there. So it's pretty much hopping over there on Discord at the moment, which is awesome. So I want to go ahead and post this with Jynxie and Andy Newton. You can continue to look forward to me pulling out segments of MaM-A-Thon as memories of MaM-A-Thon, to try to to make it so that people don't have to watch a 4-hour live to get to one section or whatever. So I'm trying to pull these things out and make them easily available. So anyways, without further ado, we'll move on to my chat with Jynxie and Andy Newton. Hello, Jynxie.
Here we go.
Hello.
How you doing?
Nervous.
Well, I just sent an email invite to Andy.
Okay.
Hopefully he'll see it here.
We can do a grip or two if he wants to come on.
Yeah,
we can
and
go through the Jacobs thing, and then.
And just to let AC know, hey, yeah, absolutely. If you want to come on with me, if we have a little bit of time at the end of this one, we can do it then. If you have maybe a little time tomorrow night at the closing of MaM-A-Thon, we could also be willing to have you on then too. But just so you know. Sorry, go ahead, Jynxie. How's it going? Glad to have you here.
Am I on live? Because I have it all muted and I can't hear
we are all the way live. I can't be unlive. Once I start, I'm live. So there's.
Well, you didn't have to plug me in right away.
Well, I basically, the call comes in and I put it up to the speaker because, I can't just start having a private conversation on the side. You know what I mean? No.
Right.
So.
Hello, everyone.
All right, everybody. This is Jynxie. Those of you who might be curious, you can find her on Twitter, and I will show you what her profile pic looks like on Twitter. All right, so this is Jynxie's Twitter handle and profile pic. Jynxie's been into this case. She gets into the relevant newspaper articles and stuff that she finds and pulls into the light of day are quite amazing at times. And so she's actually made a lot of very interesting contributions. And today she wants to talk a little bit about something I think that everybody's going to kind of like. And that is, that guy, the one guy who we all know from the documentary, the original documentary, who was calling in literally minutes after the RAV4 was found, but there was nothing else except for the RAV4. And he's asking if they have Stephen Avery in custody yet. So we're going to be talking about that guy.
He also asked, he said, do we have a body yet?
Right. Do we have a body?
Do we have him in custody, though?
Right.
How did he know about a body 30 minutes in when he was called in that day?
Right. Exactly. Exactly. So, and that's some a little bit about what we're going to be talking about today, folks, with Jynxie. And Ripper may be joining us here in a second. Let me go ahead and stop screen sharing. And then I will turn my camera back on so you guys can see my smiling face. We were going to be listening to another song real quick because I was going to try and figure out how to get Andy in here, but I don't know. He's not here, so he must not be getting the link.
Let me see if he wrote me anything.
Ripper, you there, bud? Ripper knows how to call me. Oh, but I'd have to make it a group call. Oh, I'd have to call Ripper myself. All right, so Ripper, do you want me to make this a group call with you and Jynxie? Let me know.
He said try sending the invite again.
Okay. All right, hold on. Let me see. Let me just type it in.
Will I be able to hear all of them if I don't have the video on?
It's actually a good point. You should be able to because the phone is close enough to the speakers. Problem is we'll have that's if I don't wear my headphones. We'll have to see how this will work. Johnny would be, well, Johnny could come in through Hangouts as well. I don't know. Let's see if we get Andy in first.
See if I do this. Wonder if you'll get feedback.
All right. There it is. I sent it again. So. Yeah. So, all right. Well.
I think the George Zipper voicemail is just gone. I don't think it was switched. I think it said, sorry, I'm answering Russell over there in the chat.
Sure.
I think, I don't think Jacob's ever turned that over. And you'll see why. I put some documents together for Richard to show. about Jacobs and his little. I know he never wrote a report. He was written about in the Calumet County reports. So
yeah,
I think it said. Hi, this is Teresa. I've been driving around. I can't seem to find your address, so I'll come back after my next appointment.
Right.
And try again. That's what I think it said.
Right. Yeah, could be. I mean, where is it? I mean, why would it be gone? Why is it lost? I mean, but of all the things that disappear.
Why did Jacobs not feel the need to turn that evidence over? And that's not the only evidence at George Zipper's house that went missing. You talk about the Auto Trader magazines being in Stephen Avery's house and how that proves that she was in the house. They also have talked about the notepad that had her number on it, and then it said the back patio door or something like that underneath it, and how that supposedly proved that Teresa was in the trailer. Well, in George Zipper's house, they found a handwritten by Teresa Halbach, like a receipt saying, if you want to have your pictures taken and put into this magazine, here's my number.
Right.
And call us, because he was truly a lead appointment where they called him up on the telemarketer site and set up the appointment.
Right.
Via telemarketer,
right,
and had never had his pictures taken, so it was like a mock appointment. She was supposed to go there and like show them how it's done, and then they were going to decide. They also say that was dated for the 31st, but they say there was no time. But how do we know that there is no time without that evidence? And it's not anywhere to be found in anything.
Right.
So.
Yeah, the missing things, Zipper was always, I don't know. I've kind of like let go of Zipper in a lot of ways from like the first year when I was into this case, but yet in other ways, I mean, that grumpy old man, dude, I could imagine him shooting somebody. I just could. I totally could.
Okay, but in other ways, I didn't mean to do that. Sorry.
So, yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No worries.
Put you on speaker. Zipper, I think, is interesting because he is belligerent in his interviews and doesn't seem to want to be cooperative with the investigation. And he says odd stuff like shot her on the property or something. Anybody coming on the property, he'll shoot, or something like that. And then you have the son who was questioned too, Jason, or not the son, I'm sorry, the grandson. He is referred to as the son in the records, but he's not. They alibi him by calling up, the school. But the person alibying him is, Detective Jacob. Do we have him in custody yet? That guy, it's his brother who works for the city police.
Right.
So that's an interesting little connection. And then with everything that happened with Jason since then, I'm sure people still think of him as a possibility. Maybe not Jason, but the grandfather, and Jason having knowledge of it. At least that's the consensus that I've gotten from that theory.
Okay, there we go. I got him. Hold on, I might have him in here in a second.
I don't think they ever got Zipper's, his real alibi either, like the grandpa, George.
All right, anticipate he's going to be showing up here in a second.
What was that?
Nothing, I'm just working on. There he is. Okay, Andy's here. So we're going to see if you can hear Andy now. And then we're going to see if everybody on the YouTube starts complaining at us about an echo. So,
hey, guys.
Hey there. How you doing?
Hey. How you doing, Eric Cosi?
I'm good.
Hey, Jynx.
Hi, Andy.
Hello, all other fellow Muppets out there.
Muppets.
How's everyone doing?
All the Muppet pictures were a thing for a while there.
Yeah, I changed mine to Statler for like, I don't know, like a month or so, and then I changed it back. So yeah, no, it's been fun.
Right on, right on. I remember that. Yeah, the Muppets. I almost wanted to change mine, but I was like, oh, no, I'll leave it as Jerry. But hey, so how you doing? It's good to have you here. Jinx, can you?
Oh,
Is there
it's
any?
good to be here. I just got Endgame for the second time, so I'm kind of shook. I tried to get on last night. I saw your conversation with TTM and John Farrak, and
Right.
then I watched Allie and Casey, and then Courtney when she came on till about 3:30 in the morning because I'm on the East Coast. So yeah, I stayed up till like 3:30, and that was a very good conversation. That case is messed up. When I first saw Courtney's post the other day, I really didn't know what to think because that's something that comes out of a book, it comes out of a fiction novel, and when you see that actually happened, that Calumet covered up the case in that way, and Kratz was involved like that. It doesn't really surprise me at this point, to be honest.
So for those who might recognize you, how would people most likely recognize you?
Probably just on Twitter. I do have a Reddit account. I really wouldn't like them linked here, but yeah, just on Twitter, Andy Newton TT.
Andy Newton TT on Twitter, folks. Okay, so I just wanted people to be able to know where to find you. And mods will go find your Twitter link, and they'll post it for everybody to come find you. So
Awesome.
It's a pleasure to have you here. Jynxie and I were just talking about Jacobs, obviously, and
oh yeah, she's been going into that really, really hard. She does a lot of great research for sure.
She's ahead of steam at times, I'll tell you what. But I love that about her. So,
well, I don't understand why Manitowoc and the state of Wisconsin aren't more upset about the tax dollars that they've paid these men to do this job.
Right. Yeah. Over $1 million.
Yeah. More than that.
And look, I advise you should ask for your money back, Wisconsin, because you didn't get what you paid for.
Yeah, and when you think about like all of the money that they say they were going to lose from the case, the $36 million, guilters always respond with, "Oh, insurance would have covered it. Oh, this he wouldn't have gotten the whole 36 million." You think that, well, maybe even if insurance did cover it, or Steven didn't get all of that money, say he gets maybe 10 million of it or 15 million. Their insurance rates would go through the roof. And if something like this happens again, we all know what's gone on with Ricky Hofstetter. If that's something in that case cracks open and we find out the gross incompetence of the Manitowoc cops, how are they ever going to recover from something like that?
Right.
All that money, they say it's just money, but that's enough to shut down that department, bankrupt them for years.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Casey says that it would be not just about the money, it was about other cases that would have been reopened, such as the Ricky Hofstetter case and others like Carmen Boutwell, and I'm sure I can go on and on.
And like I was saying last night, I think it was a large part of it was to stop those final two depositions where they were basically going to be cutting the heads off the snake.
For sure.
I mean, I think there was a real desperation to re-vilify Stephen Avery and get him re-vilified in the public image.
Yes. Re-vilify him
sure.
if he got out.
Right. Then they could sweep all this back under the rug where they wanted it.
The year before.
Right.
I'm sorry.
No worries. Sorry.
So, I mean, I don't think police actually did anything to her as in killing her other than
no way.
I feel like they were more opportunistic
for something to frame him for, and it just popped up in It was perfect timing. They got lucky.
Right.
Yeah, I think there is definitely a lot of coincidences that just happened to fall in their laps, and there could have also been surveillance in the months before from DOJ. Like we don't know really what the whole Deb Strauss or not Deb Strauss, the auto trader photographer that was coming. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we don't know. We really don't know what the situation was with her, Kathy Williford.
Right.
Yes, the situation that was going on with her, like, was she scouting out the property? Was she following Teresa and her motions and everything? Like, we don't know. That's I think that's something that we really have to follow.
Yeah. Yeah, certainly. There's a lot of rabbit holes to follow in this case, isn't there?
Yeah, I know TTM. I know Host was going after that for sure.
Yeah.
Like he went down that rabbit hole. I think he's still convinced that there's something there, and there might be. And we see from the Convicting a Murderer trailer, she says that could have been me. Then why didn't she warn Teresa more than she apparently did? No, because she.
Why didn't you tell auto trader people that if she had these issues with Avery, one time she was on his property before?
Yeah.
Why did you tell that to her boss?
Why wouldn't that report have come up then? Like, oh, somebody else did feel kind of awkward with him once before, right? I mean, you would think maybe,
I don't even think she was afraid to go. Teresa, how about?
I don't think so either. She was joking about
no way.
Yeah, she was joking about Steven and stuff like that. I mean,
that's made it seem like they had all these phone calls earlier that morning with her boss, Angela. I don't know,
Schuster.
Her name is, and she didn't have any calls. I mean, there's a lot of faxes going on. There's a lot of calls coming into Teresa from Auto Trader that morning, probably about the Yonda
call, yeah.
And she doesn't really talk to anybody from Auto Trader until that 227 phone call where she's either on her way or already at the Avery yard.
Right.
So I don't think there was really any of that issue. I think that's a flat out lie by Brad.
The whole BS about luring. Yeah.
Yeah, no, the entire luring situation.
I'm wondering if Rookie dug into Ken Kratz on that at all.
Oh, well, he does want me to discuss. Rookie does want me to discuss the. He said it a couple of times in the show here about Teresa did not have the address to Avery's until after 12 o'clock that afternoon when Dawn faxed her that sheet that was the same day sheet. And we can see that on her phone records that were from her landline. She got a couple faxes in the morning. Actually, she got one fax in the morning, a call about 11:09, which was probably them calling to say, hey, Avery called back, wants to know if you're coming. And then you see Teresa fax her thing back about Steve Schmidt. And then you see the fax come in at 12:09, and that's the last fax from Auto Trader. And then the last communication from Auto Trader was sometime at 2:27, but that was a call that actually connected, and she talked to him and told them she was going to the Avery brothers. She didn't even say Steven. So I find it interesting how she would be feeling lured by that. I mean, she knows it's Avery's, the Avery brothers. I mean, I don't know.
And there was a recent post on MaM on Reddit. Someone brought up a valid point. She said if the call came to Yonda's and the appointment was under Yonda's, why is Bobby saying that she's walking towards Steven's trailer? How would she know it was Steven making the call? Because appointments under that Auto Trader account, why wouldn't she be going to the other house or the other trailer? Like why would she?
That there was a Yonda, or I'm sorry, I keep doing that. A Yonda who did make appointments at the Avery Brothers lot, which was Tom, and that was like a month earlier.
Yeah.
Right. All right. So Sorry, I was
I think
busy talking to AC there for a second. So, so we get back to Jacobs, and we talk about his. Well, another thing you were talking about, Jynxie, was his minimal reports. You know, the minimally involved, but yet there's literal minimal paperwork, right? You were saying there's minimal paper generated by him, but yet he's logging lots of overtime hours, right? And coming in on days off and stuff, right?
Right. He finds out first on the 3rd about the missing woman from Calumet County. He is there at that initial meeting at the Manitowoc County Sheriff's Department with Colburn and Lank and Remaker. And he writes no report. And then he's off on a holiday, which it seems everyone was off on a holiday on the 4th because there's no communication that can be found. And then on the 5th, he's called in. He's off that day. That's one of his days off. He's called in and he works like 12 hours of overtime. And as soon as he's called in, he's calling dispatch, "Hi, I just arrived on the lot, and I just rolled in. Do we have a body yet?" I mean, how would he even suspect that so quickly into finding a RAV on a lot? And do we have Avery in custody yet?
Right.
I mean, that's even weirder.
Without any proof of it. Yeah. Right.
Sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, no, you're right, because without any proof that even anything had happened yet, that's extremely bizarre.
Yes, for sure. No, it's very strange.
So he gets on a lot, and he's and if you look at the logs, he's on and off the lot a lot, and he's even squeezing in his name sometimes, like he left the lot but didn't sign out, and then came back, and they noticed that he was coming back and hadn't signed out, so they squeeze his little name in there. And then he's also there when they're tarping the car. We all know about the tarp and what was it doing on there at all? Cover rain that didn't seem to cover the rain since the rain came later and they had it off already. So what's he doing there? You have him going to the George Zipper's house. He goes there on the 6th and he records the message supposedly from George Zipper's voicemail to his phone that Teresa Halbeck left at that place. And he was supposed to put this on a CD and give it over to Deirdre.
Right.
But then if you look at Deirdre's report on the 9th, he does see Jacobs. Yep, mentioned again in the Calumet County records, mentioned quite a bit. And he's giving a CD over to Deirdre, but it's only the telephone calls from the county jail where Joey's calling Steven. He never once gave the CD that he made of the George Zipper voicemail to Deirdre. So I find him at fault for that. And yet he writes no report about going over there and taking the call or what he does with the call. There's no ledgers of it being handled. There's no evidence tag number given to it. And he's just... So he to me is the one who takes it from Zipper. So why are they hiding Zipper so much? I don't understand that. And then you go to find out that when they do his alibi for the grandson, that it's his brother giving the alibi. They don't call the attendance department or office at the school and say, "Hey, was George Zipper or Jason Zipper in school this day?" They just have the school resource officer call.
Yep, that's his brother.
So I don't understand why they don't call the actual office. And being that it's the brother of the one who's missing all the evidence, crucial to his case, it makes you wonder. So
yep,
right.
It's very suspicious how they're related and they're probably covering for each other. And right after that, Bruce got a promotion as the resource officer. He was like the resource officer in charge of all the other resource officers. Right after that, like during, I want to say there was 2006 or 2007, Bruce Jacobs got a promotion right after Avery was arrested. So I think there might be something fishy going on there too, in terms of it's another officer going up on the ladder.
Right.
Because he would be a different department. He would be the city police. So I wonder if he wrote any reports on the case that he was involved in. He should have wrote a report about this, I would imagine.
Usually when you're logging that much overtime, you'd think you were something. The city would want something from you to
wrote one for the city police.
Right.
No, yeah. You
show what they're paying for, you know? Anyway.
Something else about Jacobs that people might know is that there's like a little street in Manitowoc where like all of the sheriffs live and all of the detectives live, and he happens to live in that cul-de-sac area where Tom Kokoric is his neighbor, and Robert Herman, well, he was the sheriff. Now he's not. He just got elected out, I believe, or retired.
Oh yeah, he's gone now.
Let me guess. Orville Jacobs is their drunk cousin, right?
What? And then you got Remiker living on that street too, from what I heard. I think he lives on that same cul-de-sac.
He does?
They look like pretty fancy houses for cops.
Yeah. Right. Well, I mean, don't cops make more than anyone else up there, don't they?
What's that?
I said, don't cop makes cop is like the best job you can have up there.
Right.
One of the best jobs. Yeah.
Because it gives you a sense of authority and therefore a distinction, kind of. You get paid well.
You got the pension and everything
there, right? Or a lot of jobs there, I should say. Anyway, so it's kind of like a feather in your cap, really, to be one. You know. I think John Frack said that in Wrecking Crew, actually. I think about it.
Do you want to know my favorite thing about Jacobs?
Yeah, what's that? Literally.
When it all out.
When the petition came out for the judge to remove herself, for Judge Flowers to remove herself, they had just gotten 5,000 likes over on the Manitowoc Sheriff's Facebook page.
I love this story.
I was going to go and post the petition there and ask their 5,000 likers to sign petition too. And I got one response, which was basically just somebody sending a gif of Simon Cowell saying, "That's a no for me." So I was polite and said, "Well, if you ever want to look into the case, here's where you can look into some of the records to read for yourself." And then Jacobs comes on and goes, "What did he say?"
I have it right here. I just got the picture. I'll read a comment. It says, you do realize you're asking some of the people who were intimately involved with the Avery case to look into the case against Avery. They got it right the first time.
Yeah, so I went off on him and was like...
They deleted all the comments.
That wrote no report and asked if there was a body yet, and then I was sending him links to all the reports on him, the county, and then all of a sudden, all of my chatter on their pages was all missing.
They removed that real quick.
Yeah, and then they say they have this policy where they can't keep comments up for 24 hours. So then another follower of Stephen
sounds like they're running low on servers.
Yeah, but then they have all the Gilter comments. He's right where it belongs. Great job, man, to walk. You got all of those comments on there, but the ones that Jynx makes removed within 24 hours.
Right.
Yeah, mine were removed in 5 minutes, and everybody else's was on there for 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
Yeah. Right. It's just showing their disingenuosity, you know.
But he proved to everybody that he had an intimate involvement in the Avery case, which was said that by Cagle, you mentioned it I think it was mentioned either earlier or it was mentioned with Seven Pop about, they only provided one piece of equipment was their press conference statement, but yet now he's saying they were intimately involved in this case. And so I think that's very interesting that he's kind of, admitting their involvement was more than just a piece of equipment.
Yep.
They should have written more.
They weren't just hired hands. They did the dirty work.
Yeah, really dirty work, anyway. All right, let's see what's going on in the comment section here.
But I think people should pay more attention to the Man-A-Thon 17-page report and take notice that it's not just Jacobs who doesn't write reports. There were other people on the scene during the investigation from the sheriff's office and reserve sheriff's officers, such as Bushman. We all know about him. Mm-hmm. And none of them wrote reports either. Well, very few of them. There might be one tiny little mention of watching the scene or something like that, but there's really not. If you go and look at the time card, you see all these overtime hours on all of these officers, and there's not one mention of what they were doing in that Man-A-Thon 17-page report. And I think Man-A-Thon should be taking notice that their money that they pay in taxes are going framing men and women in their counties. They should take action. Time to take action.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You see AC's comment? Jason Jost has a nose that's better than cadaver dogs.
Yeah,
spotted
right.
bones he spotted bones that canines couldn't spot.
Yep. Absolutely.
The bone collector.
Only problem is the dogs don't lie. Anyway.
Nope, dogs don't lie. Gus Road, Corey, they don't lie.
Jason Jost, his nose, well, it's connected to Jason Jost's brain, and so.
Jason Jost was not the one who took the poop evidence, Rhonda. It was Remaker. He took the hairy piece of poop, and he never logged where he was taking it or what was his reason, and it never came back. And that poop was found in the quarry between Avery's yard and the trailer on the hunting grounds over there. On Randall's
the hunting camp, right.
Yeah.
The deer camp, right. There you go. That's what it was.
There was also a necklace. Somebody put that on a map I'd seen. I didn't notice the necklace, but there was also a necklace that was found over there, too, which I found kind of interesting.
Then there was the charred foot. Oh, wait, no. It was just a piece of insulation, actually. God. Like, what the heck was going on there? How did they think a burned piece of insulation was a foot? It's like,
we all know it had a hair on it, so that poop evidence actually could be...
no, the poop with hair, right, yeah.
Could have had any kind of evidence on there that it might have been her hair that flew off of her wherever she was, if she was anywhere in that quarry. It could have been... It could point to somebody else who shouldn't have been in the quarry that was in the quarry.
I think it's a foregone conclusion. Something of her was in the quarry.
There's something going on
at this point.
Yeah. Could be human.
There's something going on. Anyway, sorry.
What does Eric Hosey call it? Remaker's Poop Patrol.
There you go. Yeah, Remaker's Poop Patrol. That's right. I did use that hashtag. That was fun.
I hashtag it Remaker's hairy piece of shit. So
there you go. There you go.
No filter.
One way of looking at it. That's funny. So yeah, I mean this case, gosh, so many things, but I don't know. Let's talk about what is it for each one of you. I think here's a brilliant one. Yeah. For each one of you, what is it about the current situation with the bones? With the current situation with the bones, the one aspect of it that you are the most either outraged or just the most, like, at this point laughing at the state in the ridiculousness of their arguments, either
right.
or.
All right, who wants you want me to go first or you want to go first? Thanks.
Sorry,
right, you go first.
You want to let Jynx go? Okay, go ahead and go first, Jynx.
I'm sad that they return the bones and they make themselves look like bigger assholes than they did.
Yeah.
Even during the investigation, because there was that statute in their own laws that says they should not be giving back physical evidence that's found during an investigation.
Written by Norm Gunn.
Especially biological evidence, and yet they're returning that kind of thing to the families. And then they don't even give a reason why or have them sign for it. What's that about? I mean, did they even really go back to the family, or did they just destroy the bones? I'd really like to know that.
Interesting. For me, the thing about the bones is that them giving them back to me is basically an admission that they're Teresa's, and therefore, that gives credence to Dean and Jerry's arguments at trial that those bones kind of illustrate a little bit different crime happening here than what the prosecution is trying to tell. You know, and that's where the whole I'm not going to spend 20 seconds on those, right now. And I do hope AC, I do hope you did get to push Kratz about that. I'll say. Hopefully, I'll get to see that in convicting a murderer eventually.
I would love to see that whole interview with the rookie and Kratz.
No, me too.
That clip was great.
Yeah, I could watch all 4 hours of that interview.
All quarters to his bodies. Thanks.
Yeah. Absolutely.
No, yeah, but for me, I mean, just the complete denial or complete incompetence of them ignoring Willis's order for future testing with the original trial. You know, you have this brand new rapid DNA test that has been shown to work in California. I'm looking at one of my tweets. I found a story that 31 victims of the wildfire. I think there was 100 in total, and most of the rapid DNA were found in the campfire part of the wildfires, and 31 victims were identified by the rapid DNA test. And this is only using small amount of tissue or bone. And these are completely charred bodies. There's absolutely nothing remaining of these victims. They all have. There's really nothing to go and identify them by. Right. And this test has been proven to be successful in that regard. And now we have these bones that are likely charred in the same way, that were discarded with in the same way they were burned beyond belief. And we have this new test them. It's ready to go. It won't even take that much time, probably a couple hours in the lab. And, we don't even have the bones anymore to test them because they were given back to the Hall box. And that's just completely ignoring Willis's testing order, something that the state and Avery's, both parties were supposed to abide by, and the state did not hold up their end of the deal, which that enrages me, because it's something that they think, oh, they have such a case, why ignore the future testing? Just like there's something in the RAV that they couldn't test at the time, if that they could test that now, why not? Why are you hiding the RAV? Why are you hiding all the bones?
Yeah.
What is the problem with that? That's what really enrages me. That's why I'm laughing at.
And where the hell, how that's actually asking for the bones back? I don't remember actually seeing any formal report of that, or did they just offer them back to them? Do we know?
I don't know.
Not sure. I asked because if they just went over and offered, hey, here we're 2011, 6 years later, we're going to give you back these bones out of respect for Teresa, or whatever the hypothetical could be, right? Mm-hmm. Why didn't the brother mention anything about the law, as he is a lawyer?
Mm-hmm.
When he say, well, we shouldn't take the bones back because there is a order on file about keeping that evidence, not to mention the statute through the Wisconsin state. So I would.
Yeah, statute.
I'd like to know who asked and who offered. You know.
For me, it's got to be the state. The state probably wanted to give that evidence back. I mean, because the Hallbacks already had a service for Teresa. They already, had a grave and they already buried her, or they didn't bury any part of her, but they, they have that place where they can go and respect her, but they didn't have the actual physical cremains of Teresa's body. So, I mean, and then 4 years after, I mean, do you really want to have that part of you? I don't know. So, I mean, I guess I think the state offered it because
I mean, to the Hallbacks, because wasn't it said in the ledgers? Wasn't it for the funeral home? So did they? What did the funeral home do with them? Did they give them back to the Hallbacks?
That's what's supposed to.
I'd assume so because I did
like
ask.
Right? Yeah.
I mean, I did ask KZ in her last AMA.
That they buried them or cremated them in some way through the funeral home.
Mark, my friend told me that the Hallbacks buried the bones.
Yeah, so they probably want to be exhumed through some sort of court order or something like that. And I mean, KZ talked to the funeral home. I think she got an affidavit from them. I asked her that, and then her last Ask KZ Twitter session, and she said, "Yeah, we have talked to the funeral home about the bones." So they were definitely a mediator, and I guess they were buried where they already had the grave for her.
Right.
That's interesting. So they buried them, so they could exhume and test.
Well, yeah, I'm actually
Teresa.
Want to.
And then if all of the bones came back to Teresa, that would still prove that she was in the quarry, right? I mean, it would be hard to say now that they've mixed up all the bones, giving them back.
Yeah.
It was only one bone that came back to Teresa, but if all of the bones came back to Teresa, then those would be all the bones from all over the place. Correct?
Right.
Right?
Right.
Well, I mean, unless there's like animal bones in there.
Right. Well, undoubtedly there must have been. Well, at least in the burn barrels, because they threw all their chicken bones and deer bones and everything else in the barrels. So
I mean, or there could be like I know this is kind of off the grid, minute possibility. I'm definitely not one of those people that thinks Teresa's alive, hiding in some sort of witness protection program somewhere. I'm not one of those people. I fully think she's dead and she's gone in some way, but it could be possible.
They knew they were her bones. They knew that she was dead, or they wouldn't have gone through with the whole planting of the evidence stuff, in my opinion.
Yeah,
it was a possibility to walk in and be like, "Hi, I'm here." I think the possibility was gone.
Also, it could be possible that majority of her bones, or she was burned somewhere else, or I don't know. The animal bones are definitely mixed in. I mean, I guess you're right that there was some sort of that the biological evidence of her had to be there for them to have to go to all these lengths. I mean, unless there's a part of her buried somewhere else that we don't know about.
That could be too.
Yeah. All right. So you guys obviously have probably talked about that tooth with 7-Pop before, right? That the one with the overlay that shows that they're not really. Huh?
I'm not.
Jinx? I don't know. I'm sorry.
I missed your question. What did you say?
I was asking you, did you see like what I was showing earlier, the Imgur with the X-rays where they were overlaying them? Yeah,
I saw that. I've seen that. I've seen your segment, and I've looked at the Imgur itself. So I find that very interesting. I don't think the two teeth look alike at all.
I think
one root is way too wide for it to be her tooth, and it's kind of and the length doesn't seem right. And as she was talking about the curves and stuff, which I'm less knowledgeable about the root canals and stuff like that, I'm gonna have to trust Seven Pop on those little curves that she was talking about.
Yeah.
But
But yeah,
could you pull
this too? Sorry, go ahead.
I said, could you pull up? Can you pull up the Imgur? I was, to be honest, I didn't see Seven Pop's segment, so could you pull up the Imgur or no? From the
Yep.
I don't understand how one whole tooth, or I don't even think it was whole, but one tooth could actually identify her just by saying it matched the tooth on her X-ray. One tooth. I mean, how accurate is it?
No, you definitely need more than one tooth. It's just like you can't put a bunch of charred bones and say that you need. All right, hold on. No, wait, someone pull up the Imgur. I'm gonna.
Yeah, so what we're looking at there is the actual X-ray from Teresa Halbach. So it's an actual X-ray of her tooth whole when she was alive, basically, right?
Yes. Okay. So, yeah. No. I do agree with Jinx. I see the discrepancies. Yeah. It looks too narrow in some places, too wide.
Yeah, like down here, the tooth that they found is a bit longer than the one.
Yeah, it's longer. It's sharper.
Over here, much longer over here.
Yeah, the second segment from the left, it looks. Yeah, it's definitely elongated. It's more square. Than the other sides are sharper.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and then the curve in the middle, yeah, it definitely doesn't match up with the top part, the crown. No, I do. Yeah, I do see that. Yeah, they don't match up at all.
Now with the green, now that I'm looking at it again, the overlay. Yeah, I don't think it's her tooth. I don't know if they just had some teeth in there from something else or what, but.
Yeah.
And that makes you question, well, whose tooth is it? If it's not hers. You know.
No, for sure. And after seeing that, it's that visual. Whoever made that visual is very, it's very helpful.
Oh yeah, they have to overlay those things. Yeah.
Yeah, just to overlay those. Yeah.
I mean, they're X-ray images, obviously. So, and then you got to fade them in and out over each other. Got to imagine it probably be.
That must have taken a while to get the exact measurements.
Yeah.
Seven Pop mentioned that there was a crown also found. Like, I think she said it was almost a whole crown. Why wasn't that compared to any of her teeth? I mean, wouldn't that overlaid like this? Could it be that tooth did not match either that way?
Right.
Yeah, that's.
Wouldn't you want more teeth to say that they're Teresa rather than?
You want everything you can get at that point. Any evidence that you find, you want it to match. You want only to, match Teresa, but you want that evidence there just in case it could be someone or something else. And if it's not Teresa, if it's someone else, if it's animal teeth or whatever, it doesn't pan out, then it's animal teeth. It doesn't matter. But yeah, if it matches Teresa, you definitely want that tooth. It's more evidence that Teresa was burned in that spot.
Yeah, absolutely. My whole thing is, I mean, this is really the quintessential proof that it's not the burn pit. It's not the burn site, right? It's because you don't find everything there.
Yeah.
It's like you don't find all the teeth. You don't find the waist button of the Daisy Fuentes jeans. You don't even find all the rivets. Fine, I think
the way they have it going is that he's in his front yard burning bone parts, in his backyard burning a body, over in
how does no one smell that?
Burning more body. Right. Why would somebody even not on the even with the bones not on the quarry and stuff? Just thinking of those things on the property over there. He's in 3 different places doing this. Why not just do it all at once? I mean,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, DeHaan's affidavit. There's no way that something can be burned at that temperature and remain that intact. There's no way it was burned, and there's no way it's burned that way in the pit like that. There's no way. There's no way that the fire was that high either. It was not 10 feet.
Yeah, no, not in an open fire. That's what they're saying. That it's possible in a burn barrel because you got the metal sides or whatever. It's trapping all that heat in, pretty much right back in, and focusing it upward only. Whereas in an open fire, you got 360 degrees straight sideways outward and upward.
Mm-hmm.
So you just have more area where the heat can get away and dissipate and just not get as hot, right? So I mean, it makes sense. The burn barrel is what creates the type of heat level needed to do it, but it still didn't even do it. I mean, there's still
No.
bugs, right? I mean, it's
yeah. I mean, you can still see the fragments, like
I think they took a picture of a screwdriver in that pit. Did they not? And the screwdriver has a plastic handle.
Yeah, I think
so. If there was this fire that was and it was underneath one of the fire wire thingies.
Right.
So if this fire is so hot and burning, a body, why didn't it even melt that plastic on that handle of the screwdriver?
Right.
Yeah, AC's talking about how the tire belts and everything, that it's all junk science. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Mind you, they took a picture of a screwdriver in the burn pit, but no bones in the burn pit. That makes no sense either. Yeah.
No.
Totally. Yeah, that's what people are saying. The screwdriver thing, I do remember there was one in there. Yeah. I often feel there's zero evidence of anything pertaining to this case. Yeah. So I feel that way too.
Sapper Cop, he makes a good point. Not hot enough to burn the body, too hot to be closed.
Yeah.
Yeah, there really is no happy medium when it comes to burning the body.
Yeah.
It's either gonna be too hot that there's still gonna be tissue left, or not. It's not enough to leave any fragments at all.
Right. I mean, you got the big old propane tank right there too. So it's
right.
Yeah. And it's kind of.
And if there was a fire over the roof of the garage, as some of the statements become,
some of the false statements.
You would think that propane tank would have been at risk of blowing up if it was that big.
And then that thing blew up, and all hell breaks loose.
There was something else that Yanda said, Barb said. She said something about she hated when he burned tires in the burn pit because the black rubber would be all over. Like, the smoke would be so black, it would leave that black soot all over the garages and everything. So I don't see that on any of the garage pictures in the back either. So that had me questioning. I've never seen what a burning tire can do to to leave on a wall or a garage. But by that statement alone, it made me wonder.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see any black soot.
Right. Absolutely not. Scooby always talks about that clean bone. How that one never got tested. All right. So, is there anything particular else that you guys wanted to discuss at all before we wrap up here? I do have Johnny Jack who's going to come on. Well, I call him Johnny Jack. That's what he used to go. Ripper on YouTube. Kind of eager to talk to him because he's the one that's supposed to do the fire experiment from a distance, right? He was supposed to go, he's supposed to do a barrel fire and an open fire, and then he's going to go 138 feet away, like the deer camp would be, to simulate what it would have looked like to Josh Verdant if he saw this fire at Avery Salvage that night. So, eager to talk to him, but if there was anything else you guys wanted to talk about real quick.
I can go on for hours. But,
I know.
I think we all could.
To know about the redundant being able to view the fire from where he was, that would be a great thing to talk about. I still have questions about redundant.
Well, let's do this. Russell Gatton asks a question. Where do we all think she was burned? Deer camp, quarry, Whiting's funeral home?
I don't think she was burned in a funeral home.
No, I don't think so either.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think so.
No, I think she was probably burned right out there in the quarry.
Yeah, I think the quarry is my best bet too.
That was the gravel pit, and there is DNA evidence on one of the rocks over there that is unknown, and I wonder whose that is.
Profile CX.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'd like to know who that is too, personally. I mean,
CX, the fingerprints on the RAV.
Did we ever get a profile from Ryan? Did they ever get his sample?
His DNA?
Yeah.
No, I don't think.
Nope.
I don't think they have his sample from the investigation.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing they did with Scott Bladorn's fingerprints and palm prints. That's, I think, from that side of like close to her life and her mother's DNA.
Yeah. It
was all Avery's and Dassey's DNA.
Yeah. So for me, the fingerprints are probably one of the biggest issues that I want to be answered. You know, if Casey ever tests that RAV, if she could ever find a way to connect it to Ryan or Bobby or whoever, you know, I'd love for her to be able to test that part, and you know, just to get the RAV in general. You know, like I said, I still don't know why the state is keeping it. You know, if it proves his guilt, if you know that blood was definitely not planted, if you know if there's something in there that they don't want her to find, you know why are they keeping it? Why is that such a big deal? You know, that's the one thing that I think that you know is going to make or break this case. You know, we could go on about the bones, about how we could get out that way. Now we could get out through the Bobby evidence testing or using him as a Denny suspect. But I think, you know, the RAV is still the make or break part about this case, for sure.
I think that Minnow Bobby makes a great suspect. I you know, he has a lot of circumstantial evidence pointing at him. I think because he gave his DNA and his fingerprints and palm prints, and they didn't match those to Bobby. I know if they would have matched him to Bobby, they probably, well, maybe that's why they harassed Bobby to point the finger at Avery, I guess. That could make sense too. But because they have his fingerprints and DNA, I don't think that CX or the blood in the RAV that's unidentified as his, it would make him less likely a suspect for the actual killing. I think the blood in the RAV and the blood at the quarry would be the killers, and whoever that belongs to is probably who killed her. That's my opinion.
You mean like the prints?
Well, there's prints on the
prints and the blood in the back.
Palm print on the RAV unidentified. Right. There's some blood, I believe, in the RAV that was unidentified, and there's also the blood at the quarry site that was on the rock that's unidentified.
Right.
And
stuff to match.
And I mean, for me, I still think, you know, Ryan is still suspicious for me. I mean, over Bobby. I mean, KZ is going after Bobby and Scott like hard right now. Like, there's no doubting that. Like, she's kind of gotten off the Ryan trail. But in my opinion, I think at this point, it's going to be hard to get Ryan to be cooperative, because Ryan is smart. Ryan's a nurse. He's an RN. He's very cunning. He's manipulative. He knows common sense. Like, he knows to get a lawyer, not to talk to the cops, not to get buddy up with Dietering. He knows who to talk to. He knows what's going on with the investigation. And I don't think he's ever going to be cooperative with KZ. And KZ is never going to be able to get that evidence to test Ryan in that way, unless she ever gets to this court part of it, where she could try to force Ryan to give up DNA or something like that. So yeah, and yeah, I think Ryan just knows his way around the system. Yeah, I think she could have, she definitely left the yard and made it home that day. Hence the day planner. Like the day planner needs to be explained still, and also his alibi. You know, he doesn't have an alibi. You know, I can't clear him or Scott B from the investigation. You know, without him having an alibi, he made a trial. He didn't even know the last time he saw Teresa on Sunday. Day it was a day or night. Like he doesn't know, and that's just something, you know, that's really sketchy. That it's the two closest men in his life at that point.
Yeah.
You know, something. You know, something I like Casey was saying last night. Something that Bobby or Scott, I don't know, have the motive for. You know, definitely have the opportunity and all that, but I don't know if they have the motive to kill Teresa like Ryan would. Right. So I don't know. I just think maybe the stars should have aligned that way. I think she made it.
Stalking her in October because he's only calling her. They're only talking once or twice a month for 9 months that first part of the year, and then you see that email where she's telling her friend, "I don't know how I allowed myself to love him for so long." What do you mean allowed? That's a weird word to use. And then there's all of these calls happening that suddenly stop the week before she goes missing. So I think he's the stalker.
Yeah, and to get to that email,
something happening.
Yeah, and to get that email, like you said, with everything that she says about Ryan, she still says, "Oh, I know he's still checking me out," and then she says all those things about Scott. He's a pig. I can't stand him. You know, there's a clear dislike for both of these men. You know, and I think that the emails are proven to be from early October. So that's about a month before her disappearance.
And she says pig, like Scott Blodorn's a pig and she can't stand living with him or whatever. What does she mean by pig? Like, does she mean that? Because
I think she means like he's not
Brad, like they had sex, so is he a perv pig? Like,
I mean, by pig, I think he means like he's not doing his part to like clean up around the house. Like he's the type that like doesn't clean the dishes and leaves like dirty clothes strewn around, stuff like that. I think that's more in that way.
Right.
She is accused of having sex with the roommate. So she does say pig. We don't know if she's meaning because he's dirty in the house cleaning, or is he dirty in his mind? So,
well, I mean, if he was friends with Ryan, you know, it's probably both. I'd say it's both. You know, having sex with Scott, and then, you know, he's friends with buddy with Ryan. You know, it's probably both, to be honest. You know, we don't really know. Well, I don't know. We don't. There's just still so much mysterious around that whole situation.
Yeah. Oh, this whole thing's a freaking. Everything about this case getting stranger and stranger. I'm always reminded of Stacy lyrics when I think about this case, you know. But anyway, it all just, you know, just when you think it can't get any stranger, and it does. And then, you know, so we'll be waiting for the next big development, obviously, right?
No, yeah, I think it'll pick up pretty soon. You know, yeah, I think we're just in a holding pattern now until Flowers denies the case.
So we get to see more.
Obviously, we can move back up to the Court of Appeals, and hopefully the Court of Appeals will take a fair look at the bones. I think they will, because they remanded it back to Flowers in the first place. So, I mean, I think they will. I think they will take a fair look at it.
Yeah,
you know, Gilser's
with what's happened so far, personally.
Yeah, I mean, Gilser's will say, "Oh, it's gonna get denied into the sun," but you know, like I said on Twitter, you know, Flowers is nothing more than a traffic cop. Like, you know, why I said it on Reddit too. Like, they say, "Oh, Flowers is just taking her time. She's got a lot of cases on her plate." Well, what are these other cases that she's looking at? Speeding tickets. You know, a guy steals a handbag from the local Walmart. Like, what are the issues here? Yeah. Why is this case taking why does it take her so long to write a 5-page denial paper? And okay, we'll appeal, move it back to the Court of Appeals. Like, I don't know what is taking her so long. She's obviously stalling. But when KZ hands in a filing, you know, on the day of or on time, she takes her time to consider all the issues. She puts them in her motions, and then she turns it into flowers of the Court of Appeal. All these guilters going after her, saying, "Oh, she's so unprofessional. She's such a clown. Why is it taking her so long to do all this?" Because, you know, she actually gives a shit about this case. Like, she really wants to see Stephen free, and, you know, Flowers just doesn't really care at all. Or she's working, or like Casey said, she's working buddy with Kratz to, you know, to make sure she screws Stephen as much as she possibly can.
Yeah, I think she definitely already has an opinion.
Yep. No doubt. There's no doubt about that in my mind.
Right on, right on. All right. Well, it has been a pleasure having you both here. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Eric Cosi.
Oh,
thank you, Jinx.
Thanks to all of you hosts that are doing this and keeping the, you know, mission
conversation
alive.
going.
So, yes, keeping the info flowing on that information highway I love so much. I thank all of you.
Awesome.
No, yeah. This is really great. You know, bringing all these people together that you know we're all together, but, you know, I feel like, you know, everyone's watching, everyone's commenting. It's on all the social media profiles: Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, Discord, and all these places. And, you know, it's really raising awareness. I'm glad that we're able to come together and discuss this, and, you know, bring this common cause, you know, back to the spotlight. Because I know we talk about MaM a lot, and MaM is very good for this case. You know, we needed MaM to bring awareness, to bring Stephen and Brendan's story to the spotlight, and that is great. But in the times that MaM the publicity goes down, and the public doesn't really, you know, take an interest in Stephen and Brendan's case, we need these, in the lulls and the action, we need to rise up and take action, and we need to keep awareness and spread awareness. We need to keep it up. And I think you guys, you, Tracy, Paul, Allie, you guys are doing a really great job of that. And also everyone that's been sharing and posting and continuing to post on Reddit, all these great Reddit posts, all these great Twitter posts. Everyone's keeping up the awareness, and I think everyone is doing a great job. So I commend you guys for that. Thank you.
Greatly on the community to help us share this stuff and get this message sent around to everybody. So that's very true. It's all you guys too. All you out there who tune in and watch and take the time to get informed. So 100% agree with you on that one, buddy. So it's, like I said, been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure.
Hopefully we'll get together and do it again another time here. Maybe in the near future we'll pick a topic and we'll get together on it. You and I and Jynxie.
All right. Sounds great.
Sounds good.
All right.
All right, guys.
All right, guys.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, everybody. That was my chat with Jynxie from Twitter and Andy Newton from Twitter. Two people that know the case very, very well. Had an absolute blast talking to them. It was awesome. They know this case very well, and so I'm happy to bring you guys this content. We're happy to continue to make people aware of the issues in this case, you know, especially when you got the state of Wisconsin trying to say nothing to see here, when there's plenty to see here. Plenty. Quite an overwhelming amount to see, I would say. So yes, absolutely, having people like Jynxie and Andy coming on, helping to talk about those particular, those issues, whatever particular issues at the time. I mean, obviously I can have more talks with Jynxie and Andy in the future, and we can talk about completely different topics than we talked about here. And we could probably do several interviews and probably not really revisit one topic a second time. I mean, anyway, yeah, I do look forward to having chats with either both of them or them individually in the future. Who knows? Whatever may come, whatever is, more convenient, or whatever they would like to do, obviously. But yes, I do absolutely look forward to speaking to them in the future. So, MaM-A-Thon was really a lot of fun. It was a good event. People really seemed genuinely excited about, and it was just it seemed to go well. We raised quite a bit of money for Stephen and Brendan, and it's just awesome. So we thank you guys. Obviously, you guys are a big part of making it happen. You guys tuned in, and you guys were active in the chats, and you were asking questions and paying attention and doing, those sort of things, and that makes it all worthwhile. It really does. So I want to go ahead and give another thanks to Ashley Strunsey, Falcon Apata, Fen on Twitter, and Julie Pom Pom from the Wrecking Crew. Those, you guys would have seen Julie on Tracy's lives. She was helping Tracy out. She was helping to keep track of the donations and that sort of stuff. So that's who Julie Pom Pom is, for those of you who may not know. She's brilliant. And so is Fen. And so is, so are all the moderators that took part, and all the moderators that were involved. They did a great job. These live streams all went fairly smoothly. And it was really, I mean, for us hosts, we were already kind of stressed, but it was nice to have those people behind the scenes who were actually making this thing go smoother and making it a little bit less stressful on us. And so we do appreciate that very much. So big thanks to the mods, to Julie Pom Pom, and to Fen. Those of you who don't know Fen, go check her out on Twitter. Hashtag 80 more things. Brilliant Twitter stream. She's on day 54, I believe now, counting down from 80. Anyway, so go check those things out. And hey, if you haven't already, please hit subscribe, and we'll see you